Texicanas is Bravo's newest drama-filled series. Y el drama es real.
It looks like Mexico threw up in here. O sea, ¿qué onda? Do you own a pair of tennis shoes?
I'm not a diva.
Boom! My nails! Yes!
There's a cop!
Somebody was saying something about me.
That you were flirting with someone's husband.
Touching somebody is assault.
Assault? Are you serious?
Benny, you need to relax.
You put your face in front of my husband.
Drop it right now or I'm leaving.
I can't be taking care of babies.
Nadie me mandó a mí, yo vine porque quería. Última vez.
A su madre, güey, todas. Me tienen hasta la madre. Tu madre.
Texicanas Tuesday nights on Bravo. And now, let's get into some chisme. This is After the Show with Tito Caballero.
Okay, After the Show, episode 4 with Texicanas. Welcome back, ladies.
Thank you.
So it's a party. They keep growing. The group keeps growing more and more. I love it. We're loosening up a little bit more. We have tequila now.
Thank you.
Tequila and Topo Chico Lime, which is like the perfect combination.
I think I'm going to drink that today.
Help yourself. We'll get you a glass of ice and we'll get this going. So episode is behind us, and I haven't had a chance to meet or talk to Janet or Lou Serrana Yancy. So welcome to After the Show for the first time.
Thank you.
Episode 4 is now behind us. First question is, what did Carla end up making for her husband? Because I know you went and you did the cooking class, right? What did you end up making for him, and how did that come out? She's like, I don't remember. I figured I'd start with the light questions, by the way.
I made lamb.
You did?
Lamb. Yes.
And how did it come out? Good.
Beautiful.
Did he love it?
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan. I like it, but I don't love it.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else that tried it was obsessed. So
We're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right in to
The juicy stuff.
now the juicy stuff. Lou, so obviously you and Myra are a centerpiece of what's been unfolding over the last few episodes. You had the lunch coffee date with Myra in episode 4, which just aired. Did that go like you thought it was going to go?
Well, we started on the wrong foot again. And I think, after a while of talking, we finally kind of, got into sync.
Right.
And listened to each other.
Right.
You know, so I wanted her to listen to who I am and why I'm like this. And I wanted to listen to, because she always tells me, you don't know me. How can you,
Right.
tell me who I am? And
Right,
I was
right.
like, well, tell me who you are.
Right,
Maybe
right.
I'll understand you. So I think it went well there. And we finally kind of
It seemed towards the end of the conversation, it looked like it was going pretty good. I got to say, did anybody else notice that one of them had champagne and the other one looked like they had iced coffee? So right away, I'm like, okay, they're not on the same page.
champagne.
I had a mimosa with no orange juice.
Oh, that's right. It's a mimosa with no orange juice.
She did say we're in 2 different stages of our lives. Did you remember that?
Yes.
I'm in the mimosa stage.
Right.
That's what she actually meant.
I thought that didn't get past me, by the way. I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work out because one is on a mimosa trip right now and the other one is on a coffee
Well, I
trip.
think
How do you know it wasn't Bailey's?
Well, it could have been Bailey's. You're right. I made the assumption.
But you know what? I think I needed to get the edge off because I knew it was going to be hard. And like Fernando said in the conversation, when I hadn't seen that, she takes out comes to you impulsive. She doesn't listen to you. And then it's like, she attacks. So I was like, that's why I was, can you please listen?
Right.
Listen,
So in one of the earlier episodes, we were talking about the names that you had given the girls for the Spartan race. We had La Shakira, and we came up with one for you. It was Muhammad Alus. Did anybody share that with her?
I forgot to tell her.
Yes, I love it.
If you do another Spartan race, we got to have Muhammad Alus on the back of your jersey. How does that sound?
Yeah, I love it.
Why does everybody else have nicknames and Luz doesn't? And I said, well, she made the shirt. So we need to think of something. And I thought of La Chingona.
Right.
Well, we had that on
Oh, yeah, we did on our under eyes. That's right. That's right.
Lorena didn't make it today, but I wanted to talk about you guys in episode 4. We're at a shooting range. Very Texas thing to do, right? And I think she had the most accurate shots. Was it Lorena? Who was it?
Carla's like, no, excuse me.
Oh,
Excuse me. Correction.
so it was Carla. All right.
It
So
was a mind over matter again. She's like,
Yes. Luz was like, man, I was like,
let's do this. Had you ever fired a gun before or no? That was your first time?
yes.
So who were you picturing in the silhouette of the target that you were...
An intruder.
An intruder, okay. Like, seriously, we're going to nickname you La Chapa after that.
I like it. Yep.
So the next Spartan racer jersey's going to have to say La Chapa.
I like that.
Mírala, qué risa. Do you own a firearm now? Like, no. It was just for fun. Like, you can go rent the firearms.
No. I want to.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I just haven't.
Was it you that said that you felt a little clumsy with it and were afraid? Who was it? No, it was Ana Yancy. You were saying, I don't know if I could have a firearm because something will probably happen. Okay, so on social media, people have been interacting with me since we launched the podcast, right? And one of the questions that's come up a few times has to do with Ana Yancy, and it has to do with...
Great.
Great. Well, it was about your ex-boyfriend who was Lorena's brother, right?
Oh, yeah, but that was like
a long time ago.
college, yeah.
Well, the question that's coming up is like, at what point do you realize, like, when there's not an intimate part of that relationship, that it's like, okay, adios?
Well, no, I think that the whole story doesn't really come out because him and I were really good friends.
Okay.
So, but he lives in the valley and I lived here.
Makes it hard.
Of course, you can't put everything together.
Right.
But that part just came out. I was like, great. But no. He's a great guy and he's married and I'm in a relationship. And it was hard. I have a daughter. So we were really good friends and I'm really good friends with the family. So it wasn't that. It was just the fact that we lived in 2 separate cities.
Right.
And I can't move. So, it was just more of a
right.
But it just totally came off wrong. So sorry, Lorena.
No.
I still love the family.
I had viewers.
I don't know if the family loves you.
Not anymore. After that. Yes.
Well, I had viewers who could relate. I mean, I have viewers that were saying things like, well, my husband hasn't touched me in like 6 months. So, like, I don't know.
No, I think we were really good friends. So it was just, we were better off as friends and we were young. It was, no.
Yeah,
But,
stupid.
Yeah, it was
Naive.
yes. I'm like, thank God, that would have been awkward.
Well, I'm glad that Lorena wasn't here while we had the conversation because that would have been a little bit more awkward.
No, she would actually be very proud that I gave the full explanation of it.
Yes, okay,
because
good.
There was I'm like, great. From everything, just
I know,
that
that's
part.
what they
I'm
got.
like, they didn't put the whole story where, we've been friends.
Right.
So, no, we're good.
Well, I'm glad we got that out and cleared that up.
Yes, thank you.
Penny, we were talking about, everybody has a little bit of a different dynamic with their partners, I think, on the show, Penny is kind of, like a 50-50, you're a working mom, you take care of the kids as well. What kind of advice could you give other moms? And my mom was the same way, she worked full-time, had a job, raised 3 kids, sent us off to school every morning. What kind of advice could you give a mom that's going through that to keep it together?
To keep it together.
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
Mimosas.
Wine.
Lots of wine.
I joined a wine
You not
club.
know how much I drink. I talk about it all the time. No, but honestly, I think it helped a lot that I grew up with that type of relationship. Like my parents, too. My mom would also work, but my dad didn't want her to work.
Right.
So it was always like, I need to marry a man who is going to understand that if I work, we still have, both of us have the responsibilities of the household and the children.
Right.
Not just one side. But, you have to discuss those kind of things. Like before we even got married, we discussed how many children we wanted. Like we're just very, very open with each other. And so having that line of communication is key.
I could totally see that, how that could make it a failure or a success for sure. That open line of communication. Yeah. Luz, a little bit about your background, like before the Muhammad Alus phase of your life. I think it came out in episode 1 or 2 that you were married to a machista and you that wasn't your DNA, and you got yourself out of that situation. What do you think was the biggest lesson you learned about yourself?
Lost that point where we talked about how many kids and all that. We just skipped that. That's probably why.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a big important thing. So
right.
Thinking about getting married, that's like key. I was thinking about getting married and just wanted to have kids, and then I'm like, wait, maybe I don't want this. This is not what I,
Right.
Because you grow up in a Mexican family thinking that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. But my dad always raised me to be independent, so I was like, like where what do I want? So it was hard for me to at the beginning find what I wanted to be, but what I really wanted to be is independent work and just spend for myself, and he didn't agree on that.
Right.
He always told me we had role reversals,
right?
And so I was in real estate, and it just he had his business, but in 2008 it was bad, and he was in construction, so construction went totally bad. And in 2008 real estate for me was awesome, which is in a bad situation because Mexico was doing so bad in their security, and everybody was just coming down here. So I was like selling houses left and right, and he's like, wait, I'm going down and you're going up. Like, it was just
really difficult.
A bit difficult. And then to the point where he's like, a ver, you need to stop working and I need to get back and be the man of the house. And I'm like, okay, but it was just hard situation.
So, what is it that you love most now about this phase of your life? Is it the freedom?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Yes. That I can do whatever I want, whenever.
Nobody's going to say, where were you? Where were you?
Exactly,
who were you with?
Which is very difficult now, like, to have a relationship. Because I'm like, what do you mean I can't? It's like.
So, was he also like the jealous type? Or did you? Yeah, okay. So.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Like, why are you wearing red underwear? I'm like, really, dude? That's like underwear.
Nobody's gonna look at it.
Who are you wearing red underwear for?
Yeah.
No, Raul is zero jealous.
Not jealous at all.
He would always tell me like, oh, you always want to be like. I'm like, this is how I am. This is how you met me. And he would always call me, ay, la artista, te crees la artista. And look.
You're like, look at me now.
Look at me now.
I know.
You say so many times. Be careful what you wish for.
So Raul's not the jealous type, right?
No. No.
Yeah.
No.
Man has to
super.
lap me on the ass for him to come running.
You have a trainer and a stripper
he'd be
pole.
like, did you hurt your hand? Like, just, he doesn't.
What about your husband, Manoli?
No.
No, not the jealous type.
Really.
No, he looks really calm.
Yeah, super calm.
Yeah.
What about Anayansi? Are you still dating the guy from the show? Wait,
Yeah.
what's his name again?
Jason.
Mr. Trump?
Yes. I was like, I don't know if I can read these comments anymore. Can we just? I was like, next. I don't want to hear about Trump anymore. Yeah, we're still dating. It's,
Okay.
I mean, it's different when you're not married and then when you're in a relationship. But,
Right.
So I think that you have to just balance it. 'Cause it's kind of like we're married.
Right.
So
Does he still get to ask you, like, why are you wearing red underwear?
Yeah.
Or is that off the table at this point of a relationship when you're
I
dating?
think he's in denial, but he's like machista.
So Maida brought up a couple of times on the show that she felt her circle of friends didn't have her back. Do you guys feel like you had her back when she was going through the challenges she was going through? Did you try to have her back? You felt like it's kind of your reaction to that.
Who's
Yeah.
I don't think we see everything because you cannot.
Right.
But I felt like I did, and then you just have.
We'll
to
see how it unfolds in the
You'll
next
see
few
how it
episodes. Right?
unfolds.
in normal life though too,
Right.
like you always feel like you're doing something that's benefiting the relationship, but then that person might not see it like that.
Right.
It's in the eyes of the beholder.
Right.
And might have not thought that maybe Carla or so and so had her back, but
Right.
it really wasn't. That's not what that other person felt. you know.
Right.
But in my personal, there was times where I did kind of feel, and you could tell in my face.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell. I mean, even when I watch the shows, I'm like, I feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable, and you can tell in my face. I start going like this and like looking up in the air, and I could tell that I wasn't standing up or I wasn't doing something that I was feeling inside.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much we communicate with our facial expressions, right? And we don't even realize it. Like, I've had people call me out on that too.
I do everything with my face.
They're like, why are you making those faces?
I start grabbing my hair. When I'm uncomfortable, I'm like, okay.
Hey, even with all the Botox and the fillers in the world, you can't hide the expression. If I'm mad. If I'm upset, I'm upset. You know. It's,
So the moment that I think sparked all of this is when Mayra tapped you on the back of the head and she was walking away. Obviously, there was a lot that was leading up to that moment, and we had very honest conversations about overreaction, right? Some folks may feel that Mayra overreacted. I think we all overreact at times. I know I'm certainly guilty of it. I've overreacted and regretted it countless times in my life. I like to think the older I get, the less and less that happens because we learn from our experiences. Do you feel that your reaction was appropriate, or do you feel that in retrospect?
I mean, I hadn't seen how it looked, and production was like, "Oh, it doesn't seem so bad," and I'm like, "Well, I felt like my head blew off," just because in the moment it's like it heated.
Well, the tension was already there, so that topped it off. I feel,
and so. It would have been different. Maybe I would have felt it different if we were in another circumstance.
Right.
But all the circumstances surrounding that just made it seem like she went.
Right.
And I was like, that's why I was like I didn't understand what just happened.
Right.
So I think it wasn't the strength of it. It was just el hecho. She was above me. I was sitting down, and she was like this, and then she does that, and you're like. Really? Like, what just happened? So it wasn't, everybody's like, oh, it was just a tap. It's not just a tap. It's the whole the ambience of
everything,
circumstance of where it led to,
Is there anything that you would have done different about that night and how it all unfolded, or?
Well, she walked away.
Yeah. So. I mean, I walked away. I was so surprised, and I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm out of here. I was like, it was very difficult.
And Janet, how did that make you feel? Were you infuriated when you saw it?
Call. Needed to be picked up, and I thought, what are you talking about? So yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't believe anybody should touch anybody. I mean, especially, that's your space. That's your own little space.
So. And you addressed that at the fashion show where you ran into the girls where Penny was being a supermodel on the catwalk. So do you feel that you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish in that conversation with Mayra when that happened?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
I think I got my point across, and we agreed to disagree. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Absolutely.
All right.
I feel like that night, everything was just tense since the moment, right? Because I think that the situation was already uncomfortable. And then all of us there, and it was just...
And then truth serum in the mix?
Yeah. See, I think I've been getting asked a lot why she was constantly going. And I get very uncomfortable because I can snap very ugly. So I
haven't seen that part of you yet. Have we in the episodes?
I think that's when I started dancing. And then Carla was so, I was like, oh. So then I played the stupid, okay, I'm just, because I've already blocked it, and I'm already thinking on happy thoughts because I'm about to go.
Yeah.
No, and I think that's when I was like, I guess people are like, oh, is she dumb? No, I play dumb in certain situations before you get a bad reaction, because I will be like, and I'd rather just keep my cool. So then I think that's why I started dancing. Yes.
And I think when she grabbed my hand and my phone and all that, if I wouldn't have left, I think that would have been very.
You're shocked. I mean,
Yeah.
when something like that happens, and your first reaction, what do? Luz took the higher road. Okay, now somebody like me, crazy, I probably would have knocked her out, and thought afterwards I screwed up. That's not right. I mean, but that's
Have you ever
how-
knocked anybody out, Janet?
Yeah.
I want to hear this story. What happened?
My sister. but she did take the high road. I think it was just shock. I mean, when you
It was
hurt
just
someone,
the
we
moment
weren't
that was
expecting
just
it.
very heated. Yeah.
Right. So now we're 4 episodes in, and you guys have seen. There's a lot of taping that goes on. I'm sure there's a lot of B-roll, and the producers just pick bits and pieces of your
That's
life.
sometimes hard.
Yeah.
Very
so
hard.
So that's what I was going to ask. I mean, do you feel, any of you, jump in, and I'd love to hear from all of you, but do you feel that what the producers selected is a misrepresentation of who you are? Or do you feel that it's accurate? We'll start with Anayansi.
Well, no. Can I skip on that one? I'm like, why me?
Alphabet for
I know, right? No, I mean, it is very real. But again, you wish you could explain everything. Like that incident with Lorena's brother.
Right.
I'm like, okay, no, I completely didn't mean that.
For it to come out like that.
Yes. So it did cause like a little conflict. Like, okay, my parents are watching this.
Right.
My aunt was there. Jason is there. His family is there. Lorena's family. So I was
Yeah.
like, it was super uncomfortable for me because I just wish but I wasn't going to go table by table explaining myself.
Right.
And then, I mean, there's a lot more of, I think, everyone, and we wish that you could show exactly who you
Right.
are.
In full
Like
context.
for sure, I've gotten a lot of like, oh my gosh, she's like dumb, or she doesn't have a degree, and I'm thinking, no, I'm in the medical field, and I did have I do have a degree. So, but again, it all starts developing. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that I am who I am, right?
So the answer to the question is sort of accurate, maybe misconstrued a little bit, or sometimes you
Well,
wish that
no.
there was a little more context in some of the stuff.
Well, no, I think I feel that we all kept it pretty real.
Okay.
No, sort of.
You think
So
certain things.
Yes,
I
me
went
too.
back. Are you okay? You don't get
Yes,
to see
you don't get to see any
Okay.
of that.
So,
Okay, Penny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any regrets on like me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it
It's
is.
pretty accurate.
I think
Yeah.
it is me. The only thing I regret is probably not saying something, or I
Right.
don't have a problem with the editing. I think that really is us.
They're just
I mean,
taking snapshots.
But obviously there was things that were left out.
Yeah.
Of course.
Loose.
Well, yes and no. Like in the editing, for example, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, she's always saying anal." I mean, if you really see it, it's only like twice, but they repeat it so many times, it seems like
Right.
it's forever. And then
So just over like, damn it, everybody thinks I'm anal about anal.
yes, exactly. And it seems like they hit me.
I don't
on
even
the
wanna
head
use
so
the
many
word
times,
anymore.
on the editing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
On the little before and after, and I'm like, hi, it was enough once,
Yeah.
And like when I talked to Myra, our conversation on the fourth episode, it was way more. There's a lot more
Got
to
it.
There was a lot
Yep.
more context. How do you say it? Yeah. And I told him like where I came from, and they that was missed. So sometimes there's a little bit could be a little bit misconception and turn out to be like the bitch,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like
I'm not a bitch.
Yeah, you're like, but I'm not a bitch. I'm not.
Sometimes. I know, right?
Like you didn't show all of me.
yeah, and I was telling her, I was in her position a long time ago that's why I said we're in different levels of maturity, because I already went through a lot of what she's going, that she wants to be this, that, And so I'm like, I'm done with that. And they showed a picture of us like, we used to look a lot like, and
I
that's
used to tell him
probably
that all the time. I was like, you guys are a lot alike.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I think for her, she sees that we have a lot in common. We've just in different stages,
Yeah.
and she's still working on being the not perfectionist. I already was, because my parents were like that,
Yeah.
to be the perfect one, the better one, the same thing that she said.
Janet, do you feel like you were represented pretty accurately?
She sure did. Look at her. They keep asking, does she talk? I'm like, she sure does.
She sure does. So do you know any Spanish words?
Poquito.
Poquito, yeah. You know the good ones.
I've learned a lot from this lady. No manches.
No manches. Oh, my God.
Go hurry on.
Vámonos.
All right. So you guys are on the Bravo network. Has anybody here seen RuPaul's Drag Race? Have you guys seen it? Oh, you've seen like 5 seconds. So there's a character on the show. Her name is Cynthia Lee. She's one of the more popular drag queens on the show. I'm going to try to get her to join us next Tuesday if possible. To help us do a judging contest of who makes the best martini in San Antonio. So she's going to be in here with you guys as a celebrity judge. I thought if I can make it all work out, it'll be next Tuesday. And I thought, everybody's throwing the diva word around. Why not pull like somebody off of RuPaul's Drag Race to give some insight to what being a diva entails, right? So just chew on that for a little bit. If you get a chance, check out some of the stuff that she's done. I think it'll be cool to get all of you together. All the Bravo celebrities together around martinis. I mean, how could that go wrong, right?
I'm going to pick up my diva game, girls.
Because I have a feeling she's going to come with some diva tips.
Oh, yes. My big heels.
I know, right? I think that should be really fun. Also, before we wrap up, we're doing brunch with Texicanas at the end of the season. For our listeners and viewers who are engaging with the podcast after the show and with the Texicanas show, we invite you to go to 1045latinohits.com and get all the information so you can try to win brunch with Texicanas and myself at the end of the season. We're going to try to do it somewhere on the Riverwalk, maybe on a river boat if possible. Yeah, on the barge.
That's
so fun. Yeah, that should be really fun. I know, right? You're like, News is like, wait, no air conditioning?
No air conditioning, wait. I'm not sure I'm digging that.
Yeah, so you're not much.
No, I have a hard time being in the heat. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Somebody
made a little, what is it, GIF or GIF or whatever they are. And I'm telling Jason family while I'm putting my lipstick on. Yes, I have.
You see, that's kind of a diva trait right there. I would say if you can get your man to fan you while you're putting lipstick in. I know.
It's all on.
Today, I don't know what I was doing, and I'm like, oh my God, that word anal. I was like, I think I am anal.
Oh my God! Oh my God! I don't think I have ever heard or used the word anal, and I have a lot of reasons to probably use that word, but I have never used that word as much as I have over the last couple of weeks.
I know. I was telling her, I'm like, with a group of us. It's like it became famous now.
I know.
Yeah.
Jeez. Anal on Bravo.
Season 1.
Yeah.
They're going to change their name.
Before we wrap, any of you ladies have something you want to add before we wrap up the show, about your experience, about what to expect? Maybe you want to clarify something. Are we good until next time? We're good.
Can I sit here watching? Because it gets better.
Okay.
It gets better.
It gets a lot better.
That's what I want to say.
This is like the... What is that?
The warm up?
Warm up. And we're going to start speed walking.
I cheated.
That's what I was going to ask you, because you had mentioned, so this was new to me. Of course, I don't use fake eyelashes usually. I've done it. I've dressed in drag twice in my life. It didn't look good. I was going for Foxy Cleopatra, and everybody thought it was Tootsie. So it didn't quite work out. But I've never gotten more attention than I did that night I dressed in drag. But you were talking about how expensive the fake eyelashes are. Like, how much do those run? And do you don't take them off at night? Or are they like permanent? Or
I wake up like this.
what does that set somebody back per eye? Is that like a couple $100?
Yes.
Or, really?
And I'm very anal. So I go like every 2 weeks. I see one and I'm like, no, I'm going crazy. Yeah.
So
Carla and I.
So it's not just like the
2 weeks. I'm super anal.
This time it's been 8 days because something moved.
So
I know I have one right here that I'm like, okay, I hope my makeup artist can figure
I
it out.
thought that you would like put them on and take them off.
I'll buy the variety
Like-
pack, 10 in a pack.
Yeah, like
Those
I
are the ones
didn't.
from Walgreens. They're good.
Okay,
Hey, I had somebody, text me or whatever. Oh, I'm blah blah blah. Can I send you eyelashes? I'm like,
Bring them on.
So-
I
Oh,
can't
come
wear
on.
those because I get like anxiety. I get anxiety for everything. I can't do it. My eyes are so sensitive. Ever since I did the LASIK thing, I can't. If something itches me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my eye.
I had no idea. A, that they were that expensive, and that they could last that long. So,
come on, like your nails.
It's probably that
One
fingernail.
way.
well, thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Texicanas, Tuesday nights on Bravo. Catch it. This is After the Show with Texicanas and me, Tito Caballero. Thank you, ladies.
Texicanas is Bravo's newest drama-filled series. Y el drama es real. Texicanas Tuesday nights on Bravo.